know if anyone expected the Hokies
Mm-hmm.
to give the Canes as much of a run for money as they
Mm-mm.
did.
Ha!
Miami escaped Virginia Tech
No.
38-34 on a controversial Hail Mary call that I think was correct, Alan.
Yes.
I want to know from you, before we get to the takeaways, what are your thoughts on that call? Because we talk about SEC reps, ACC reps, refs by conference. I'm not really a referee guy, NFL or college football, just because we know they're inconsistent. But what do you think
Right.
of just a hell of a call, no matter which way it went?
It was a hard one to make. I'll give the refs
Yeah.
that much. Did I agree with the call? Absolutely not.
Oh,
But
so
at the
okay.
end of the day, the call is final. I
Right.
can't change it. You know, was the ball a little loose? Yeah, but I feel like he
Mhm.
had it and his toe
Right.
touched in
Yep.
the end zone before he
Mhm.
went out of bounds. As far as my knowledge goes, as long as that ball crosses the plane and you have
Yeah.
possession,
Yeah.
that's a tutty.
It was
But
so hard to
I get
see.
why, because the guy touched it.
Mhm.
The guy touched it after his foot went out of
Yep.
bounds from what I
Yep.
saw. But then again,
You talking about them?
it's a hard
Yeah.
call to make. The Hail
Right.
Mary, yes. Um, I mean, but aside from that, Virginia Tech showed us that Miami met their match. Like they're
Yep.
beatable. They they showed us the
Mhm.
formula to stop
Mhm.
Cam Ward and their
Rattle him, get him
offense.
nervous.
And this is right. This is a key ACC win
Mhm.
for them. Uh, it was just a damn good game. That's all I can say. I didn't expect that in the slightest from Virginia Tech, and this is gonna be a little bit of a blemish, I think, for Cam because he did throw two
And an ugly
interceptions.
fumble.
But hey, yeah, no ugly
Yep.
fumble. I think it drops him to
Yeah.
2. I put Jalen at
Yeah.
1.
With what Jalen's
But yeah, those are my takeaways
yeah.
from the game.
With what and those are great, by the way. With what Jalen did to the number 2 team in the country at home in one game, you can argue is more impressive than Cam Ward's 4 straight games of 300 plus yards passing. So I don't blame you, bro, because Cam Ward showed us if you put his back against the
Right.
wall, and people are going to say all year, bro got bailed out by a Hail Mary. If Miami goes undefeated on the year, everybody's
Yep.
going to look back at the VT game. Everybody will. And
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a
right,
crutch.
and it damn sure should be a blemish on Miami's case because this was their first ACC game of the year.
Yep.
They blow out South Alabama, or not South Alabama. They blow out South Florida. They blow out Florida. They're just blowing through these teams, right? Like nobody can stop Miami. They look great. They get
Probably blow us out too.
excuse me. They get rid of Ball State, right? And I guess these college teams are listening to our show, bro, because Virginia Tech said, "Oh, Adam, you think Miami's going to be far and away the team to beat in the ACC? We'd love to come into Miami's house and have something to say about that in Hard Rock." In terms of that Hail Mary call, let's start there.
Yeah.
I think the call was correct. The receiver never had full possession of the ball. I think it was very hard to see in general. I know they had so many angles of it, and I was trying my
Right.
hardest to find the leather of that football on the jersey of Virginia Tech.
Absolutely.
And it was just kind of hard, you know? It was an exciting play, but from what I saw, the ball never stopped moving despite someone's feet touching the ground first. You have to be able to hold your possession, survive the ground. And to me, Alan, the refs should have never called it a touchdown. That's where they effed up. That's where everyone's pissed because they took after Miami picks the ball up, runs down the
Yeah.
field, and they're storming the field. Coaches, back to your sidelines. After they take 30 seconds to call it a touchdown, then they come over the intercom, say it's a touchdown. They're reviewing it. When's the last time you saw a call get reviewed for 6 minutes, Alan, and it was overturned? So that's kind of going against my
I
point,
can't tell you.
right? But
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
when you look, you know, I see some Virginia Tech players going for the ball, but I don't see a full like possession pulling the ball, and it was kind of bobbling. It was bobbling. You see guys go to the
Right.
ground. It kind of bobbles out some more. I guess the best thing I can take away from it is the ACC came out with a statement 2 hours after the game ended. Quote, during the review, process of the last play of the Virginia Tech and Miami game, it was determined that the loose ball was touched by a Miami player while he was out of bounds, which by rule would make it an incomplete pass and immediately
Right.
end the play. So I could agree with that. But even then, that was hard for me to see. I
They still botched it.
I think they botched it because they originally called it a touchdown. How do you call that a touchdown?
Right.
Live?
Yeah.
How?
Right.
How? The refs are coming to
Right.
congregate. The
Irregardless,
players
or
are,
that's not a
going
word.
crazy at the bottom of the pile. Miami's done picked it up and run it to the other end. Like, these guys got a hard job, Alan. You know that I know that. These
They
guys
do.
have one of the hardest jobs in the world. So I'm not gonna, you know, go crazy over the call, really. Just want to personally give my angle of what I saw, what I thought was a correct call. I hate it for it to be called a
Right.
touchdown for
There's
the
nothing
away
wrong with that.
team, chipping away at it, and then they turn around and they take it from him. But, I thought Cam Ward was really feeling the pressure early on in this game. He had that ugly fumble recovered by Virginia Tech on Miami's first third down of the game. And it's kind of weird. Virginia Tech turns around on their very first third down of the game, busted coverage by Miami for a touchdown. Now, I did think Cam Ward recovered with a couple of nice throws on the next drive for the touchdown as well. But Cam Ward's turnovers were crazy because he had two interceptions walking into this game. He had two interceptions in this
Mhm.
game thrown through three quarters, and both of them were horrible decisions. Now, I did think Miami kind of returned the favor to themselves because there was an odd interception for their defense, and then there was another busted coverage, or rather, a busted
Right.
coverage by Virginia Tech, which Miami scored on as well. But the reason why you see Miami struggle, man, not only the turnovers, but they gave over 200 rushing yards up on the ground, while 65 yards per game was the average that they gave up walking into this one. We see Miami have a touchback that was called touchdown called back on a holding play. Cam Ward, that throw into the corner of the end zone to Jacoby George. It was just great, man. I
Right.
mean, it did turn around to hurt Miami, though, as Cam Ward did have his second turnover in two quarters on the play. Right after that, he almost threw a pick six on actually both of his ugly interceptions in this game. And you saw a Miami team that had punched people in the mouth. It was inferior competition week after week. The first ACC matchup comes up, and they find themselves in a 14 all ball game due to their quarterback's turnovers at home. Again, ACC
Right.
opener of the year, and then they're down by 10 because Virginia Tech was just simply too physical and honestly just too fast with the run game. The end around that they scored on, the run by the quarterback, the running back Tootin was absolutely going crazy in this game as well. And, I thought Virginia Tech was kind of stupid for not taking the points after Cam Ward's third turnover. It was the second interception that Cam threw. Fake field goal, no points. I hope that coach got chewed out by the AD, if that's even a thing, bro, because that was just
Right.
abominable
That was
play
a bad
calling. I
call.
mean, it was just horrendous, dude. And
Hey.
more of a sample size for us with Cam Ward, really. I mean, game winning drive at home, ACC opener, allowing a 14-point ball game become a 10-point deficit, a 14-point tie
Mhm.
ball game become that 10-point deficit because of your turnovers, seeing how he adjusted and made big play after big play, the fifth straight game of over 300 yards passing for Cam Ward, and another game of 400 yards of total offense. So, Miami showed us
Right.
that if you get physical with them, and it's like, a lot of teams in football, it's just
Oh, yeah.
a
You're gonna meet
lot
your
of
match eventually.
teams. Right. A lot of teams can't get physical. And
Mm-mm.
when you
They can't.
show a team that they are able to get physical, you get pushed around a lot. Again, we saw it in
Yes, you
Kentucky and
do.
Georgia, Kentucky and Ole Miss, Virginia Tech and Miami. It's a very simple point of the game that can really expose a lot of teams. And, it was
No.
just good to see Miami's back against the wall at
Mm.
home. And again, I think it was the right call, but a lot of people are going to sit there and say that they stole one.
Right. I mean, regardless of the outcome, if I'm Virginia Tech, I use this as fuel to keep me
Oh,
going.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Throughout ACC play and maybe even into the playoffs. I mean, it, anything can happen in this sport. We know this.
Yep.
But yeah, man, tough loss for them. But if they can hold on and keep playing physical, like you said,
Yep.
they might be about something.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.